Welcome back. Let's go over the solution for the CSS assessment by going through the tasks in that CSS file. Okay, so here I have three major components open. One is the actual HTML file, the second is the CSS file, and then the third is the link to the HTML in my browser. So if I refresh this right now, notice there's no styling on this HTML. What I'm going to do now is expand the CSS file, and I'll keep this tab open for HTML in case I want to ever reference it. But right now we're just looking purely at the CSS, and our first task was to give the body element of the site a light gray background using a hex code. So the way we do that is we say body, curly braces, and we can either say background color like this, or just background. And the hex code I found by playing around with hex picker is D3, D3, D3. So I'm going to save that, refresh my browser, and now I see this light gray background. Task number 2 was to change H1 to have a 4-pixel solid black border and to center the text. So let's try it out. We'll say H1. The border, we can do this in one single line by saying 1 pixel solid black, semicolon to end that property value pair. And then remember, we can say text align, and we can say center. Save that, refresh, and now I see welcome to Puppy Blog has that border, and now it's been centered. Task number 3 was to make all H2 elements the color purple. Easy enough, we just say H2 color and set it equal to purple. And when I refresh this page, I should see these two heading 2s to be purple. Next was to take all the input tag boxes and make them have a 5-pixel solid dark blue border. So we'll say input, and again there's two different ways of doing this. You can either specify all of these individually, like border color, give it the value dark blue, and then grab border style, and then give it the color solid, or give it the style solid, and then border width, and then say something like 5 pixels. So that's one option. The other option would be to do what we did before and just say something like 5 pixels solid dark blue. It's up to you which styles you prefer. What's nice about doing them separately is that you get that nice autocomplete for the options. So if I refresh this, now on the input, email, password, and login, I see those thick dark blue borders. Task number 6 is that there's a text area element. So if you scroll down, this thing is a text area element, and we wanted it to have some specialized properties. So what we can do is, since it has an ID text block, I can do hashtag text block, and then say, give it the border. In this case, it wants a 5-pixel solid gray border, and we can adjust the width and height simply by asking for those properties. So I can say width 800 pixels and height. Notice how it just auto-completes, which is really convenient, 4 pixels. Save those changes, refresh, and you'll see that change here. Notice I'm super zoomed in and I have this browser quite small, so it's a little distorted on my screen. Task number 7 is there's a link to Google on the page. Make this link red. So since I know it's a link, it must be an anchor tag, and it's actually the only one on the page, so I can just call anchor tag color red, save that change, and it's right here. Take you to Google so you can search for pups. I'll refresh this, and now it's red. Task number 9 was to finally set all the font to be this Aldrich font, and it's actually already linked to, if you come over here to the HTML, it's linked right here, Fonts Google API, Aldrich. So what we need to do here is just, if you Google that link, it'll tell you what to do. I'm going to say body to grab everything and say font family, and then essentially follow the instructions if you follow that link on Google, which is just Aldrich, comma, sans serif, save it, and when you refresh this, you'll notice this everything in the body, all the font family has changed. So that's a nice way to essentially grab all the font on the website and change it at once. That's why it was kind of a bonusy task at the end. Okay, if you have any questions, feel free to post the Q&A forums. The main idea you should be able to do now is understand that you can connect classes, IDs, and element tags from the CSS, change their property values for styles, and then affect your HTML. Okay, that's it. We'll see you at the next lecture.